Now. That's what that meant.
Action.
I just did that because Jack and I just had this whole conversation like a minute ago about me just going like this when we start. And so now he's telling me now, but I did that just to be just to be a little bit of a, sorry. Good morning. Welcome to Mama's Minerals. This is our second attempt. I think we went live on the wrong
channel.
On the wrong channel. We were on the wrong channel.
Good morning.
Good morning. This is our wire wrap ring class. Christina, I hope you find us. I know that you were just there. This is a really fun class. We have two different ways of, I forgot little tiny beads. I'll go grab some. We have two different ways of making rings. Yvette's going to do one way because she knows how to do the way that she does way better than the way that I do.
I do like the basic technique, just a real basic one, using a bead.
One bead, one big bead. And then I have a technique that I use where I make the ring base first, and then we wrap wire, or we wrap crystals onto it. So here's two different ways that we do it. Let me have your one bead way. So we have the basic ring way, the basic bead. So this is made with a single wire and a bead. These are really cool. Yvette does really good stuff. So that's what we're going to do with Yvette. And then I have my way that I do with, I'm off screen because I'm putting them all together in the hopes that they don't look like a big jumbled mess. I do my way where I create a ring base and then wrap stuff on top of it. So we'll go through two different ways. And as I've said previously, but have yet to do it, which I'm going to work on today, is to do small, short videos, close-ups of what we're actually doing. That should help with the earrings, with the crimping, with the wire wrap rings, and just to get a close-up idea of what's going on. We do have step-by-steps. We'll bring them up to the camera. We're getting really good at it now. We'll bring them up to the camera and show you step-by-step what we're doing, and we'll go from there. For Yvette's ring, a single big beads work really well. Can you do multiple beads too? Yeah? Anything? I think on hers, the thing that you're relegated with is the size of your wire, right?
Yeah, I just use 18 gauge.
Oh, and the bead has to fit on the 18 gauge?
Yes.
Okay, so hers, it's an 18 gauge wire, which is a pretty good size wire. It's got a good stiffness to it. It'll hold its form, and then you do wrap your wire around the ring form before you start, so that it stays together. Mine, you do the same thing. I also use an 18 gauge wire, but then afterwards I use either 22, 24, or 28 gauge wire, depending on the beads that I have that I'm using to wrap onto something. So I actually forgot my little tiny beads, so I'm going to run and go get some while you do your wrap. But I'll be fast because I want to see how you do it. Because I actually don't know how to do Yvette's way.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
Oh, I'm sure she does.
No, I don't.
But anyway.
I'll be right back.
So just to start off, just to keep you guys, if you haven't done this before, the basic tools that we'll be using today is the side cutter, the chain nose pliers.
It's out of focus. Still, there we go.
And the round nose pliers.
Yeah.
Maybe to add accent, we might use that tool. What you do need to make an investment is called a mandrel. We formed the original ring on this tool, and it has your ring sizes going down the side of it, and you will create the size of the ring based on this. You can use the mandrel tool to see what size you want to use. You can measure your existing ring and say, oh, I want to make it a size 8, or you could use the tool to make rings bigger or to reshape them, and so this will keep us nice good shape of the ring. I'm going to do a basic ring using 18 gauge wire. I have cut about 1 foot of the wire, which probably would be too much, but we're gonna just go a little overboard so that we have extra wire to do this. I'm gonna do a carnelian bead first, or just a sardonyx plain bead. And I'm gonna put it on the wire, and I'm gonna put it right in the middle of the wire. So then I hold the mandrel in front of me, and I know that my ring is a size like 6.5, 7. So I'm gonna put the whole wire and the bead behind the mandrel where I could see the numbers facing me, so I know about what size I'm gonna make it. And I'm gonna place the wire at about 6.5. And I'm gonna bring the both wires to me, and I could see what size I'm shaping that at. The bead is on the back, and I'm just going around, and I'm gonna go all the way around back to the side where the bead is. The most important part that you do here is you keep your wire on the same side that you do the wrap, and you go under the bead, and then you lock the size, and you lock the tightness of it. After you do that, you kind of can just free form your ring.
So what did you do here?
All I did was go around and lock it.
Oh, and then wrap it once?
Right.
Gotcha, okay.
So I take it off of the mandrel, and I get each wire, and you'll see how it's locked and going under the bead. So what I'm gonna do is gonna go through the bead hole and out and around. You could use your hands. You could use the tool. And if you do each loop kind of tight, you don't want that twisting. Can you guys see?
Yeah, I think they can.
Okay. It's weird to wrap like holding really far ahead of in front of you.
Marisol says good morning and that she is in the house.
Good morning, Marisol's in the house. What? You want to go around about 3 times?
Oh, and Veronica, I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name.
Siamu.
Yes.
That's my sister.
Hi, Veronica.
Hi, Veronica. What did she say?
She didn't say anything. It just said she's watching.
Tell her to say something.
Veronica, they say to say something.
So I'm going to go around 3 times, and I could use my tool to pinch that and keep it nice and tight.
Veronica says good morning, sunshines.
Good
Oh,
morning.
good morning, Veronica.
So I'm going to go around the wire about 3 times, and I want the wire to end up on top here, so I'm going to trim it on this side.
Marisol, it's not fuzzy on this end. It might be your internet, but I don't know how that. Marisol says her picture is fuzzy, but it's.
Oh, maybe I can get closer.
Well, it's not fuzzy on your phone.
Okay,
when I watch
great.
it from your end.
So I'm just going to flatten that down.
And Christina found it.
And
Yay!
see, there we go. One side of it is done. And then I'm going to come around and do the same thing on the other side. And see how it's going under the bead? You're going to go through the hole. And you're going to wrap this around about 3 times.
I got too small.
Can you guys actually see it okay?
I think it looks maybe bring it. It looks bigger on this screen than it does on your screen.
Okay. Well, I'm doing like a sloppy version so you guys could get a close-up though. I think it's important to see at least visually what we're doing.
And
Oh,
remember,
you're
we
welcome.
will post close-ups. We're going to do short little videos, and I'll edit them together to do close-ups.
So what I just did was the very, very basic wrap on each side with the with the bead in the middle. And so what you need to do after you make your ring is you need to make sure that you put it back on your mandrel, and you want to twist it. Pardon me, I just want to.
Thank you. I don't know if I'm an excellent cinematographer, but thank you anyway.
We have an excellent.
Oh, you know what we need is a little ball peen hammer.
Yeah, that'd be nice to show the flat in them.
I can go get it if you tell me where
So
they
you
are.
put the ring on the
Let me
mandrel.
go look.
And you want to turn it and turn it. And so this is going to get the back part of the ring to be even. And you're going to get your correct size. See, I'm turning towards a 7 here. And the important thing is that it's wider on the bottom. So you need to make sure you flip the ring and you turn it on both sides. And so I did my ring. I started it at the size of a 6.5. And I got a perfect size 7 out of it. And so it'll fit perfect.
Oh, bring it down a little bit.
So,
There we go.
so I have some extra wire that's sticking out where I cut it right here. And it's very important that you get some sandpaper and you sand that and smooth it out so that you don't snag your clothes or scratch your face with your jewelry. This is a very, very plain 1 bead twist around. I could add some fun accent if I somehow wanted to with this little wire that's coming on the side. I could put like a niche in it and put a pretty fold in it. And so we're gonna get a lot more elaborate, of course, but this is the most elaborate you could do on the single bead here. I could do the same thing with 3 beads, and I can, I don't know, should I show that? With
Yeah.
3 beads, okay.
And then I'm going to show how I did. I think I did it not right. Oh, it looks right. Okay, so here is my ring that I made.
Yes.
But
Wait, no.
what happened...
Keep it like right. Yeah, there we go. Keep it there.
But what happened is it is too small. I have very big fingers. So I went for a size 9. And if you can see,
Out of focus. There.
it's actually only a size 8. So what I'm going to do is I am actually going to take a hammer and pound out the back of this ring. And what that does is because my wire is round, it takes up a certain amount of space. So I started at an 8. Let's see. An
Now it's in
8.
focus.
And let's see, did I get, maybe I didn't get as much as I thought.
If you turn it to both sides, it'll stretch more. Like take it off.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, let me finish doing this side.
When you pound the ring, you can also do that just so that it looks pretty because it flattens the
yeah.
wire. So I'm going to show you. There's the round on my ring.
Down a little bit.
And I'm going to pound mine so you could see how pretty the
Oh, good
different
call.
texture would look.
Oh, and so now I've gotten it down to a 9, or up to a 9. And there's my cool little skull ring.
Very goth of you, mother.
It's not goth, it's a white skull.
And then I want you to see now the flattened texture of the copper.
The texture is nice.
So it looks really pretty when you flatten it. So you could start your ring size about a whole size under and totally move it up and stretch it out and get a perfect fit that way. And even after you pound it, you always want to finish your necklace by resizing your ring, not your necklace.
Good call.
Both sizes because it evens out the metals when you twist it on there. So I'm going to do the exact same thing that we just did to make this ring, and I'm going to do one with 3 beads.
And then what I'm doing is I have some 2mm magnesite beads, dyed magnesite, and I've strung them on to a 28 gauge wire, which is a pretty thin wire, and I'm going to embellish. So this is another thing I think, is it okay if I embellish?
Of course.
Like, no.
You could take what we made
Oh,
and
yeah.
embellish it.
My soul says, what happens if the ring is too big?
You can't go down.
You can. I will tell you.
Oh, if you cut it and made it like an
No,
adjustable.
Here, I'll show you. Give me one sec. Let me just
Oh,
wrap
that's
this.
that's a good question because that's a challenge.
It's actually when I do it, you'll go, oh,
My soul's
I
asking
got
the tough
it.
questions.
So here, like you can see, I can wrap tiny little beads
Yeah.
around the ring or around any of these wires. You can take this little thin wire and it's basically embroidering. It's sewing it on there. You can attach anything to all of this open wire work. That's your frame. You can add anything to your
So
frame.
pretty. You could go around the whole ring part too, maybe?
Yeah.
I mean, it might not be as comfortable to wear, or maybe for you it could be, I don't know. But if you can even do a whole band
Yeah,
wrapped,
yeah.
oh, that'd be pretty.
So if your ring is too big, what you do is you take a nice comfortable 20 gauge, 22 gauge, 24 gauge wire,
Something thinner.
something thinner, and you wrap the back of your band.
Oh, you just thicken it.
You just take up this little space. It doesn't have. It's like the tape version. You know, like
Yeah.
people used to put
You
tape
put
on.
Scotch tape so your ring fits better.
Yeah.
You could, well, wire would be attractive. You could put beads on that.
You could. I don't know if I would like it, but you could. You
It
could do.
might be
There's
uncomfortable.
there's so many things that you can do to make it bigger. And I think making it bigger is maybe less. You have less ways than to make it smaller because you can add beads, you could add wire, you could do so. And then if I take this, so I got this up to a 9
Yeah, let's see what size
on the
it's at now.
mandrel. On the mandrel, let's see. It's a 7.5.
No way!
Yeah, so, and this is with 20 gauge wire. So if you don't have to take up a lot of space, wrap with a
22
thinner,
or
wrap with a
24
thinner
gauge.
wire.
That's genius. Okay, cool.
It wasn't, I think I probably learned it from someone. But
Yeah,
thank you.
yeah.
I feel genius right
Okay,
now.
so I'm going to start my basic again with a 12 inches, about 12 inches of wire. And I'm going to do it, I was telling you about earlier, with the 3 bead.
I gotta watch you because I think I messed it up, but I didn't do it right.
Oh, my beads are...
Yes, that's right. My soul.
Let me grab a better bead, you guys. I'm sorry.
Sometimes you have to make adjustments on the fly. If your bead hole is too small, it doesn't fit your wire. It's good to start out with a good variety. Just have whatever you have, whatever single beads you have them close to you, crystals if you're using crystals, and then that way you can make adjustments as you go. Like this one, we just needed to get a bead with a larger hole on it so that it would go onto the 20 gauge wire.
I
Or
actually moved it
18
in
gauge
18,
wire.
but I could
18.
have moved it to a 20 gauge instead of changing beads.
Well, and so I was thinking about using 20 gauge, but 20 gauge seemed a little softer for the ring form. But you could use a 20 gauge and then wrap it. That would make it nice and firm.
Or you could use a 20 gauge and literally go around more times and have a thicker band.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that would be nice too.
So, okay, so I'm going to put the 3 beads on the wire and approximately right in the middle. That's an iron pyrite and onyx. Really cool, right? Versatile. And
She's more goth than me.
I kind of am.
How about morbid then?
Oh my gosh, I'm morbid.
No, she's.
Oh, she's morbid.
I don't think anyone in the history of the world described you as morbid.
Thank you, Jazz. Oh, what a sweetheart. So I'm aiming for a size 7, and I'm gonna start at a 6, where I put the beads on the back of the 6. So I wanted to show you that's where I'm starting, and I bring both of the strands sides forward, cross them, go back around to the front. This wire's on top, this wire's on bottom, leave them on the bottom. And
Oh, Marisol asks,
yes.
which way do the wire numbers go? Is 20 larger or smaller than 24?
So the higher the number, the thinner the wire. So 18 is nice and thick, 20 thinner, 22 fine, 24 fine.
28 is like thread.
Oh, wow. You
This is
even
a
have 28?
Yeah.
Show them how thin the 28 is. Look at that.
Here, do you have your, oh. So this is a 18 as compared to a 28.
And these would be the gauge sizes?
Yes.
Yes.
And that's how you buy the wire.
Because Veronica asked, and so I was wondering if we were...
And you know, it's
Oh,
better
it's
to
out of
buy,
focus.
like, it's better to buy core wire when you're wire wrapping, not to buy, like, coated wires. So, like, say you want to, do, like, silver coated, like, if you buy it cheaper, silver over copper wire, all the wire wrapping we're doing with the tools can make that coating come off, and
Yeah.
with time that'll come off. So for rings, you want to stick to just, like, core colors of wire. So I did the wrap around, and then I came around, and I still do the lock technique, okay? So you're still gonna lock the beads in that place. So that's locked. But the great thing about doing multiple beads is you could come back around, and you could go, I need to see what I'm doing, sorry.
It is hard to wrap. That's why I think the little close-up videos are going to help a lot. They'll help us show you guys what to do.
So you could go around one bead, you can go around two beads, you can just come back around and then go back to your starting place again. And I'm gonna, after I'm done, after I'm done, I can make this look prettier, to be honest. But right here, I'm gonna lock it. So I'm gonna take this out, and I'm going to do what I showed you earlier, where I take this through the hole and around the wire. So I'm going to lock this into... So I want to show you there's one side done. And I'm going to do the same with this. I'm going to go around both wires, through the hole, and back up. I don't want these to twist. See how they were trying to twist? I don't want that to happen. You guys are really getting to see my tool skills here.
That's got them skills.
Mad skills.
You know, that is one advantage. If you, the sooner that you get into utilizing tools, the easier it is, because they really do become this great extension of your fingers, and they can grasp onto the wire way better than your fingers can. And if you do a lot of wire wrapping, my fingers get sore. Like the very tips at the very tips of my fingers get super sore.
They even start peeling. So before I do any maintenance on the ring or fix it, I'm going to make sure I'm sizing this. I'm going to put it on the mandrel and turn it on both sides like I was telling you earlier. Do one side, flip it, do the other side. You want to do that while you're making your ring, because it pulls the leather. It pulls the wire. If you're going up, it's going to pull it. So now I have this really cool shape.
Bring it down a little bit. There we go.
Up here. And I could just get my chain nose pliers, and I could play with that if I want. I think it looks kind of pretty, to be honest. But let me see.
Ooh, that looks really beautiful. It almost looks like a bezel for the beads, but made with wire, but not one of those wire wrapped bezels.
This, I just did a little accent on the sides.
That's beautiful, Yvette.
I just did that. So this is basic, 3 beads.
It looks really pretty.
And then what do you do last? Sandpaper, right where you cut it. Sand that, make it flat and flush so you don't scratch your face or scratch anybody when you punch them.
Punch anybody.
Unless they deserve it.
No.
No.
My soul, I just thought the fuzziness you could be seeing is so when they have something that's close to the screen, like Yvette's hand is right now, the background gets fuzzier when it's in focus. So that could be it. It might not be your internet. That would just be normal if that's the way it's happening.
So, thank you, Jack. So there we go,
That's
Heather.
so pretty.
It's plain, but that's
No.
plain. But so that you could grow and grow, and you could do 2 beads, 3 beads.
This really shows that the wire, what's that word? Complements each bead. That's beautiful. I
Thank you.
really like it.
Marisol says
I love
nicely
it.
done, and Linda Riley is joining from San Antonio.
Welcome,
Hey,
Linda.
Linda, how are you? Good morning. We just had Yvette do her ring. They're really beautiful. See, I don't think I could do that.
Yeah, there we go, right there. There.
That one that you have with the 3 pieces is I mean, they're both gorgeous, but that's really cool. I'm gonna have to practice that.
I'm sorry,
Okay.
Marisol. She says it's the whole thing.
I'm gonna have to practice this, definitely.
Veronica asks, what are some examples of core wires?
Oh, so a core wire is. Let me see if this one does it. There's one here that's going to be a really good one. Well, sort of. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. Let me cut it. So core wires are a copper core, but they're coated. They're not coated. It's not electroplated, but it doesn't come off. It doesn't wear off. It's not plastic. It's actually.
I think they electromagnetically plate it so it becomes part of the surface.
Oh, that would be, yeah. So I don't know if you'll be able to see this. And I don't think you're going to be able to see it.
It's focus. Bring it closer to your hand.
It's like bronze.
Well, I don't know if you're going to be able to see it.
This is a core.
Yeah. Oh, there's a bigger one. So a cord wire is a copper core with a metallic coating. So it can be, this is a vintage bronze. It can be a vintage or a copper color. It could be a gold color. It could be a silver color. The basic thing is that the inside is copper and then it's colored on the outside. These are, like I said, they don't tarnish. Or I didn't know if I said that. They don't tarnish. They don't come off. The thing when you're wire wrapping, though, is because your tools are metal, when you wrap, you're grasping onto that outer portion of the wire and you're turning. So you have little edges that can cut into the color and then show the copper underneath. If you're heavy-handed with your wrapping like I am, you can coat the inside, you can cover the inside of your pliers with moleskin. You get it at Walgreens. It's the stuff, the skin-colored stuff that you put on blisters. And what that does is it just covers and makes the inside of your pliers a little bit softer
There we go.
so that it doesn't cut into your wire.
So you'll put the moleskin in that portion of the plier.
Yeah.
Linda says she's cold but awake. And Marisol says the coating is electroplated and non-core has coating that can come off.
Yes, that's exactly right.
Okay.
Yes, non-cord. So you can have like a plastic covered wire or a it's not electroplated and it comes off.
And
it
sometimes you
peels.
could just know by the price.
Oh, that's true.
That literally the price of that wire is so cheap that the minute you put a tool on it, you see the color coming off.
Oh, it's plated instead of electroplated.
It's
It's
not-
just
yeah.
covered. Yeah, I've had
And-
head pins and wire do
And
that.
you'll tell the
and
minute
the minute you
put
turn
the-
it, it goes, it flakes off.
And you
You're
can
like,
even
damn
do
it.
it with your nails. You could test it with your nails before you buy it, and see how strong it is, because your nails has a hardness that'll test that a little.
So it's a plated wire, not an electric plated. So it's not bonded to the copper underneath. It's a metal.
Yeah.
Exactly. Awesome.
And
I love that ring. Sorry, I just keep looking at it and it's really beautiful.
Let's do some of your style now.
Okay.
What is electroplated?
Oh, it has to do with electric currents, and the molecules are inside a liquid, and then you put the other thing inside the liquid, and it goes sucks up to it.
That's a pretty good explanation. Your wire is... That's a good explanation.
That's my simple one. Okay, so my wire wrap ring style is a little bit different. You can use beads, you can use crystals, either one. Yay!
I like the idea of learning to do this with something that's not drilled. So
Yeah, and that
really
is one of the
excited.
advantages to this one is that it's not a drilled ring. So I did post up some pieces here. You can see like these pieces, what we do first is make this entire ring form first. So you make this ring and it's independent of itself. And so what we're going to do is I'll show you how to do that. It's very, very similar to what Yvette was doing. You just don't utilize the beads right at the beginning. So you still use your mandrel, you still use your gauges. For me, I have very big fingers, like I said before, and so I tend to do a 9. I started a 9. So I'm gonna just, I don't know how to show it this way. So here's my thumb and my mandrel. So I just kind of right in the middle, I just wrap 3 times. And these little ends can just kind of be about even. It actually doesn't even really matter. So that you end up with this kind of open piece. So once I pull it off the mandrel though, it springs way big. So just be aware until you get it wrapped together, the size can mush. So it's this one, you do have to check the size, I think, a little bit more.
Thank you, Marisol.
You can always go up.
You can always go up because we know how to now make it small.
Right.
So,
or down, dude.
So I'm going to take this again just because I lost my size. Okay. So I don't know. There's that. All right. So now I kind of just hold this together. I've pulled it off of my mandrel and I hold it with my fingers. And the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take these wires and I'm going to bend them at 90-degree angles over the top of the wraps that I just made. So just take for this one, I really use a lot of pliers. So I just bend one way and the other way. So it's crossed. So they're going opposite ways. There you go. So you guys can see that. Bent over the top there. So then, and this is the tricky part because you have to let go of your ring in order to wrap it, which then makes it spring open. And so what I do is I try to hold one side with a pair of pliers, and then I'm going to take a second pair of pliers, and I'm going to pull this wire underneath.
That's how she's holding it.
And then, let's see if I can do this in front of the camera. It's a little bit difficult. So, I don't know if that's in focus.
Yeah.
So what I'm doing is I'm taking my second pair of pliers, and you can see right away what happens.
Oh, no. Move it. Yeah.
Okay, sorry about that. I pulled out of frame. I can't see this wire. All right, I'm going to have to change how I hold it.
I got a good going.
Oh, Yvette has it going good there. So I'm going to switch. Perfect.
Should I keep going?
No, I usually do 3, but you can do as many as you want or as few as you want.
Okay, I did 4, and I want it to end at the top so it doesn't scratch the inside of my finger. So I'm going to cut really close right there.
Bring it into the, yeah, there we go.
And then I'm going to smash that.
Yes, and so when you crimp, that's basically what you're doing with those little coils. You're crimping them onto the ring. And what that does is it keeps it from sliding. And I'm actually just checking my size again here. I think I've got it a little too small. It's all quiet. We're concentrating.
You can pinch them together if you're not putting it tight enough.
Yvette's got long arms. She's doing the camera thing way better than I am able to.
So look at how I bent that. Woo! So I'm going to have to put it on the mandrel to fix that. But that's the thing is the wires, you can force it back into its shape. So let's see how it goes after I do that.
Veronica.
So here's mine.
Do you maintain a certain distance between coils?
So no, well, you okay. So that is stylistically something that you can do. I go one of two ways. Either my coils are nice and lined up next to one another, or I go completely the opposite way and they're all wild and out of control. So I don't really have an in between, but there are my they're a little bit big, but there are my coils. So you can do it that way, or once you get your first couple of coils down and you've got them crimped onto your wire, you can kind of go wild and do whatever you want to after that. So maintaining the distance between the coils is totally preference.
It probably also depends on what kind of rock you're using. Like if you're using a really long rock, like say I'm using a really short crystal and I want to see the coils. Or,
it sits up to the top, yeah.
Yeah, so I could put the crystal this way and I would see more coils going in.
So here is something that I do if I'm wrapping a crystal. So my coils, or my wire in between these two coils, I haven't crimped it yet, is close together. So what I do is I put my pliers in. Can you see that? I don't know how to do it. Put my pliers in.
Here.
And I open them up. And all that does is it gives me like a little base to place a crystal in.
Oh.
So the crystal sits, Jack says no,
There.
closer there.
Yeah.
So it sits inside there.
Oh, see, I already tightened mine, but I bet you I could still separate it.
And then the other thing that I do is I'll take my chain nose pliers and I just kind of flatten that little base out. Just a little bit. It's not
You're like creating a setting.
kind of, yeah. Yeah. And then I check it again. So that when I start for a crystal, or actually for beads too, you can do it this way. So it just perfect. Yeah.
Okay, I did mine. It looks okay.
It looks good. Don't let her say that.
Put your hand behind it. Yeah. Okay.
And now we are ready to choose a crystal. We're going to start with crystals first. The beads are the easy part. Crystals are a little bit harder. For crystal wrapping, I generally use 24 gauge, and I use 2 pieces. And I start this before I even put my crystal on.
How long are the 2 pieces?
About 18 inches.
Oh, wow, that's good.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to do it. This is my first time too, everyone. So if you're doing this at
It's
home.
so much fun. It's so much fun.
Okay.
Okay.
Ready.
So what I'm going to do is on this little frame, I am a consummate person of opposites. I love asymmetrical things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap my 24 gauge. I'm going to start it one corner here, and then I'm going to start the second one on this side. So all I do is just wrap like 3 times just to hold it there.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be super tight. Don't worry if it moves around. This is not something that right when you start is 100% stable, but you'll be surprised because what happens is that as you keep going, there's a certain point that you reach and your crystal is all of a sudden like really, really on there.
So you're just going around one?
Yeah, just one side.
Okay.
For now. I mean, and here's the thing. This is just the basic thing. You can do whatever you want to after this. So now you can see I've got one wire wrapped on this side.
Yeah.
One wire wrapped on this side, one wire wrapped on that
Oh,
side.
let me see. Oh, so opposites. Okay, so I've done that side. Now I gotta put the other wire on this.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the reason I do opposites is this. So wrapping a crystal or a rock it's an art of opposing forces. Yes.
Veronica asks, like sewing?
It is. It's exactly like sewing. This is embroidery with a big button on your piece and a bunch of thread. It's just wire and a rock. Well, without holes. So it is like sewing. And I started sewing and embroidering when I was very, very young. And when I learned to do wire wrapping, I was amazed at how similar the techniques are. It's just different medium. So that's, and thank you, Veronica. You said something that I've often thought in my mind, but I tend not to say it, but thank you. That is exactly right. So and for this, we are doing opposing actions. We have a solid piece that we need to wrap to a frame. We need to attach it to a frame. So if we continually go one way, well, then we have an opposite way that is loose. So what you strive for is to get an equal balance from one side to the other. So it is really going from one way and then go to the other way. And then if anyone has ever stretched a frame for painting, stretched canvas, you start in the middle and you go to the opposite side. And then from there, you go to the left and you go to the right. And you go to the left and you go to the right. And you're pulling and you're stretching to maintain that tension. So it is a play of tension that we're working with.
I have a question.
Yes.
Okay, so when you do this,
Yeah.
so I notice on mine, I don't know, like, so am I supposed, see how I did what she did on both sides. Of course, mine is far more sloppy because it was my first time. But I have a very short wire coming off of this side, a long one coming off of this side. I don't know if I should have cut one side.
Don't cut it, just use it. Maybe
Okay.
you'll use it at some point later on to tighten something up, and I'll show you
So
what
I
mean.
could have put this at any point in the wire?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I just want.
I have a tendency, I just do this way, but you may do, what may end up happening is when you wrap your crystal on and you use these, you may find that you want to take this and wrap it around something else.
Okay,
You
or make a
never
little
know.
hanging flower.
Lay a little hanging flower. And that's the other thing, is just to know that until it's done, there aren't any mistakes. It's all fixable. You can tighten it up. You can add a bead to it. If it breaks, don't worry about it. It's wire. Grab another piece of wire and try.
Iris Sanchez says yes.
Hi,
Thank
good
you for showing
morning.
this.
Yay!
And Jeffrey Brandt says this is awesome.
Oh, thank you, Jeffrey. Thank you for joining us. Here is my beginner tip. Don't use anything that's smooth.
Oh.
Use a rough crystal, a rough rock, anything that has an edge that can grab the wire. You will have so much more success and to build your skill set until you are able to get to something smooth. I actually really love rough rock, and I am going to use today for mine, I am actually going to use a fulgurite.
Yeah.
Lightning.
It's where lightning hits sand and then the sand is fused. So this is what I'm going to wrap today.
I'm going to use orange kyanite.
Oh, see, and that's the thing. Like you can use, we have,
What?
there's shungite pieces. There's an amethyst piece that you can use. This one is with a rough amethyst. This is with a quartz crystal. Now this is smooth, but it has angles, and the angles are what catches that wire.
Moldavite?
Moldavite. Oh yeah, moldavite. Did you get a Tektite?
Or what is it? No, this is a, oh, it
Those
is.
are Tektites. But still, it's.
Oh, I thought, no, they're kind of green.
Well, all Tektites are greenish when you put them up to, except for the yellow ones from Libya.
I should go get a moldavite from the case after a while to show you guys.
Okay, so I have my fulgurite. I'm going to be a little bit more gentle than I usually am because because fulgurite can crack. So I am really heavy with my wire. I'm like, I pull it and I'm like, oh. Okay, so we have our little base. We have our wire. Now it's just to kind of try and find like where your crystal sits inside that little base. You'll find a spot that works. Oh, see? Now, I was going to try to do mine like flat and be all conservative, but the place that feels the strongest is actually this way. So this is not going to be flat and conservative. It's going to be stuck
that'd
up
be
like a
cool.
big old mountain.
That's cool.
And I'm actually going to have an easy time with this one because of, should I start with something that's a little bit harder?
No,
No? Okay.
we go easy, hard.
Okay, so here's my thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one wire, it doesn't matter what side, and I am going to wrap up and over. and that's it.
Around the whole
Around the whole thing.
around the whole ear thing.
And then all the way underneath the frame too. So we're not threading anything through. I am wrapping up and around one edge.
So I got one wire, and we're going to round it and through
Put your hand behind it. Oh,
Here.
there we go.
through the hole.
Marisol is very excited about the Fulgurite.
The Fulgurite one is going to be cool.
Yes, I also think Fulgurite is kind of awesome.
Wow, this is fun.
Okay, so I've got one side. You can see this first little wrap might be a little loose. Don't worry about it if it's loose. We're going to take care of that at the end. It will all work out. So I've got one side going one way, and now I'm going to take my other side and go the opposite way because I wrapped them on opposite sides.
Okay.
So this one is now going to go a few wraps. And really pay attention to your wire and to your rock or your crystal. So please, here I'm going to say it. It's going to talk to you. It's going to tell you how it can wrap. Pay attention to it because you're trying to make two pieces joined up that would not naturally be safe and secure. So you really need to pay attention and listen to what your rock is saying, what the wire is saying. Is the wire slipping? If it's slipping off to the side, pull it more towards the middle. I'll show you how to pinch them together to get them to come to the middle, because I think that's what I'm going to have to do for mine here. I've got a little bit of not an issue, but I've got one little bit of a loose wire here.
You have a loose wire
Yeah,
somewhere in there?
yeah, but it's okay. I'm going to show you what to do.
I was trying to make a joke.
Oh. Because she's saying I'm crazy. I'm not crazy.
You are saying that you kind of are saying that the stones are going to talk to you.
You've got some loose wires in there.
Got some loose
It
wires?
can be, maybe. Yes, I have a few loose wires.
Don't worry, we still love you.
Thank you.
That's true.
Just
All
from
right.
afar.
Just from
So
afar.
mine is weird. I wire wrapped both of them. It's my first time, so I love it. But mine are spread out, so that might turn out okay. I'm going to
see.
play with it and see.
Oh, see, but then this is good because the wire, so this is something you look to too. Your wire becomes a piece of the ring. It's not just the media that's attaching your crystal to the ring. It becomes part of the ring, which is why choosing the color that you use, the size that you use, all of that stuff is important. Mm-hmm. And you start to learn. So mine, you can see mine is a little bit off-centered. It's not real, it just looks like it is. And you can see, right here, this side, you can see some space happening up here. It's not as close to the stone that I would like, but here's what we're going to do. I'm going to show you. So you've got that initial wrap. And so now is a place and a time that you take your stone and you're just going to wiggle it. Is it in focus?
Yeah.
Wiggle it to see how tight it is. Actually, that one's a pretty good
Wow,
tight.
mine is tight too.
Yeah.
Maybe go down and more in the middle now. It's kind of going back and forth pretty fast. It was for a minute, but now you're good.
So it's pretty tight in there. But I like more wire wrapping, so that's what I'm going to do. So here is where your artistic license comes in. If you've got a nice clean wrap, it feels pretty stable, you can end it here if you want to. How I do that is I take my tail and instead of wrapping around the entire ring form and the stone, I start to bundle the sides. And I'm actually going to bundle this on one side because I need to tighten it up a little bit. And what that means is, let me see if I can get, okay. So I'm pulling this wire down, and what I'm going to do is I am coming from not this side of the wire wrap bundles or the wire wrap pieces. Can you see it? Mm-hmm. I'm going to cross those and go in the other way. Anyone who embroiders will know, I think it's a blanket stitch or close to a blanket stitch. Down a little bit. Or maybe it's not a blanket stitch. But you can see Is it in focus?
Yes.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to slide this wire up underneath. Ooh, this is hard to do if I can't see it. Here, give me 1 sec. I'm going to slide the wire up underneath. Okay, there. Okay, I got it. Up underneath here. You see it's poked back through. So I went behind my wires. I crossed them and went behind, and now I'm going to pull it. So this is where your pliers are really important, because that's what's going to get, and you can barely see it. There's my nice little cross. So I'm going to do that a few times to tighten up these wires on that end. So I'm just sewing my crystal. What? No. I'm sewing my crystal into and onto this wire frame. And it is, don't worry if you are like, oh my gosh, I have to get this piece into it, or this is the only hole that I can use. It is, because I can't actually get this into it again. But let me see. Oh, here I can on this side. So what happened? So I tried to go back in through that same little space that I had before. I don't know if this is gonna. Hey, Vet, can I borrow your hands?
Oh, yeah.
I just want to keep this in focus so that they can do it. Okay. So I tried to go back through this tiny little space, but my wire is not going. However, I have this space. So I'm going to do that.
Oh, bring it down.
And I'm going to pull it.
Wow.
And that's going to tighten it up. So that's all that I'm doing. I'm just wrapping around those little edges. So you can finish this off if I wanted to just be done. I could do that on all 4 of my little bundle sides and be done. But I am not going to be done. Why, you say? Because once you have your crystal wrapped, once it's on your form, ooh, this is a nice one.
I had all these extra wires sticking out all over the place, and I just curled it.
Oh, that's nice.
I curled it. I'm going to make a prettier curl, but...
That's really pretty. I like the orange kyanite with the copper.
Looking okay.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bundle on one side, and then I'm going to, I think, bundle on the other side. So I have 2 opposing little spots that I'm bundling together and locking them in.
I think I'm done, so I'm sizing my ring on my mandrel again, and make sure you go both sides so that it's nice and round, and you have a good round back of the ring like we were talking about. I kind of think I have a little heavy iron, a little heavy wire there, but there's mine.
Bring it down in the middle more. There we go. It is very pretty.
They're really cool. They have a lot of fun. I have a lot of fun with these.
There we go.
Okay. So mine, so I can stop here and have a nice simple wrap. But what I'm going to do is another thing that you can add to your wire is beads. So this is a piece of biotinite from Utah. And I have these tiny little turquoise beads. And the other thing that this does is if you add beads, it gives you extra anchoring spots. It gives you extra things that you can add your or wrap your wire onto.
I love that.
So I'm going to add some of these little, these are little 3 millimeter.
That's beautiful.
3 millimeter.
Oh, look at, she made this one too. I don't think she showed you guys this one.
So that one is only beads. So when you have your ring form and you're ready to wrap, you don't have to use crystals. You can just do beads.
That is so pretty.
I like to
because
do-
it's like clear and then amethyst, like on the same bead.
So what I have here.
And so the sandpaper that you use to file your sharp edges where you've cut the wire, it's pretty versatile. You could just get fine.
Yeah, or if you go to Harbor Freight or to jewelry stores, you can get a nail or a file set. They're like $3-4.
Oh yeah.
And it has a little flat file. It has round files.
That's
And you
easier.
can use that with your wire. And what that does too is it lets you get really nice and tight into some spaces that a sandpaper wouldn't. All right, so let me show you guys what I just did. So I added 3 little wires to this side,
Veronica.
and I added, or not wires, 3 little beads to that side and 3 little beads to that side.
Veronica asks if you can name some other mineral ideas for rings.
Oh, so mineral ideas for rings. We have amethyst, we have shungite, we have quartz,
Kyanite.
kyanite,
Any broken piece of a rock.
or aquamarine crystals, any piece of a broken rock, anything that has edges. You can use little amethyst points,
Bamboo coral.
bamboo coral.
Ignore.
You can use, what else did we have here? Smoky quartz. Anything that has a crystal structure that your wire can grab onto, you can use.
Could you do it with the fluorite points?
The octahedrals.
octahedron.
Ooh, you could. So we have fluorite comes in octahedrals. Ooh, or a square. You could wrap a pyrite cube or a fluorite cube or a fluorite octahedral.
That'd be a fun shape
I can go
to
get-
try.
No.
So that is going to be, but can you imagine doing like 3 little pieces? Sorry, I am now into now I'm like, how would I wrap an octahedral? Now I want to stop what I'm doing and do another one. All right, as soon as I get these on here, I think I'm going to be done.
Yeah. And it doesn't matter what direction the bead is drilled, you can make it work.
Oh yeah, definitely. All right, so now I have some extra beads that I added on either side.
Marisol says she saw some good items on the Mama's Minerals FBA auction that would make pretty wrap jewelry.
Oh yeah, there's there's the fluorite. There's a fluorite octahedral set on the auction today.
I love the fluorites. They're cool.
I like to sometimes pick a mineral that's soft, particularly like she did that fulgurite, as like a little challenge.
Do you think you could wrap one of the smaller spheres? Do you think there's a way you could do that? Or
You can. So anything that's smooth is hard though.
But you could build a cage with the wire and then attach the cage to the ring.
Yeah.
So you could use a wire technique. It's called like a spiral. You make 2 spirals and you make a cage. You could put that on it.
Yes, you can. Oh, I just had an idea. Okay, so there I've got some turquoise beads on this side. I've got some turquoise beads on this side, and I'm going to wrap these tails.
bring it in the middle. Yeah.
I'm going to wrap these little tails just around my little cage there, my little frame, to be done with this. And then I'm going to do some other things with the wire. So here we go. We've got done.
Laura says nice technique on the wrapping.
Thank you. I have a messy technique.
I love it. I love it though. I agree, Laura. I think that she I don't know, is really good at being eclectic, and that's what's important, to have unique jewelry. It stands out.
Yeah, I think it's important. One of the things too is to just go with what you feel is, this is totally jewelry by feeling. If you feel, it takes a while to get there. Don't worry about what other people do. Don't worry about, does it look like someone else's? Because it's yours, and that's what makes it amazing and special. And that when you start to make stuff, when I first started making jewelry, I used to think, when I would sell stuff, I would think, oh, what do other people want? What should I make that someone else is going to want? What should I make that someone else is going to want? I never did very well with my jewelry, ever. Until I started making jewelry that I like. Because if I like it, I'm putting more passion into it. I'm putting more feeling into it. And that actually comes across, I think, to whatever you do. In the bead color choices that you make, the sizes. Some of the most beautiful pieces that we have come out of our classes, they don't
even have a pattern.
Oh God, they're so pretty. So I think that it's important to listen to your inner voice and really just let it sing, let it show up, because that's where this spot is where you can. There's so many different things that you can do. Okay, I am cutting my tails now because what I'm gonna do next. All right, ooh, that's a pretty cool ring.
I want to show real quick that you could use. Oh, show your
No,
ring.
go ahead, because I need to figure out what I'm gonna do next.
The single bead that we did earlier, I was saying it doesn't matter what direction your bead is drilled in. So this one is a rondelle where it's drilled on the side, which you think might present a challenge when putting it on a ring. But you'll just put it on the ring like you normally would, and then bend it. I'll bend it out here close to me. How you want it before you put it on the ring.
Put your hand here. I can put mine. Okay. There we go.
So you want to just, bend it before. I just wanted to give you that tip.
Okay, so what I'm going to do now, and I'm going to have to do it kind of back here, but I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do up here. So right now, I have all of these wraps up at the top here. And I think what I'm going to do is take some thinner wire and pull them together, bundle them up a little bit to make them a little bit more uniform, or a little bit more clustered rather than as loosely wrapped. And I'm going to use a 28 gauge wire, and I will show you after it's done here. Let's see. I have a really thin 28 gauge wire, and I am just going to push this wire if I can. I may not be able to. So I put the 28 gauge behind all these, and I'm gonna pull them. Oops. Maybe. If the 28 gauge is not strong enough, I may have to use 24. I think I'm gonna use 24. See, executive decision right there. Is it gonna work? No. Go to something else. Yes. Okay. So now I'm gonna use the 24. All right. So here is my. All right. I've said it. All right. All right. So here I've got it strung behind them between the wire and the stone, and I'm gonna wrap them together. So a lot of wrapping for me is really discovering how it's gonna work. Is it gonna work at all?
Right.
That may be a more appropriate way. Will it work or will it break? One of the two is gonna happen. But don't worry, like I said, you can just keep going, just keep swimming.
Just keep swimming.
Swimming.
Yeah, I don't think this is gonna do what I want it to. Oh, there we go. And be patient. I think that's the other part of it. Is this can be a little bit daunting if you've never done it before, because it feels like sometimes, oh, this should be working, but it's not working. So you've just got to kind of find a way to work within what it's giving you. Is really, it's a lot of problem solving. I think maybe it's a big puzzle. I think maybe that's one of the reasons why I like it so much, is because I love a good puzzle. And it's trying to figure out how to get this to work in the way that you want it to, and a design that is attractive to you. I really like this Fulgurite, I gotta tell you guys. I thought it was going to be kind of more brittle to work with.
I know. I thought.
But I thought I was going to snap it. Oh yeah. I thought I was going to break it. But it didn't let me stop. Didn't stop me from trying.
That's the same. Like selenite can be that way.
Oh, selenite is soft. Yeah. The fulgurite isn't soft. It's just brittle. It's glass. It's like a little piece of glass from the desert. All right, let me see. I just need to tuck these little tails in and I'll show you guys what I did. So see, I bundled them all up. I took all those and I just made a little tiny wrap. I think everything else I'm pretty happy with. Maybe no, I think I'm pretty happy with it. I think it's going to be a little too small for me, so I'm going to pound that out on the back. Maybe I'll do a little, what do you think? Should I do anything with those? Or just leave them?
No, I like them.
Ooh.
I like it like that. What were you thinking of doing?
Maybe just turning to follow like the ridge of the... I can't turn it very much because it will snap. I just heard it go... Oh.
Maybe if you put little curls in it, random.
To make it look like lightning. Because it's a piece of lightning and a stone.
So, I mean, I know we've just been sitting here maybe, what, half hour, 40 minutes or whatever. I've already made 1, 2, 3, 4.
We've been here for an hour.
What?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah, we've been in here for an hour and 6 minutes.
Oh my gosh, you guys.
This is the longest class we've ever done.
This is a fun... Oh, okay, because look, though.
We got really into it, I guess. Wow, that's weird.
Well, thank you for everyone who stuck around with us for an hour.
Yeah. Do a final show of what you're working on, because
Yes.
it's so beautiful.
I am, and
I guess I'll show you too.
Anita Marshall asked where we're located. She says she's in Kansas. We're in Albuquerque.
we're in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Thank you for joining us from Kansas. How is it in Kansas? How are you? Everyone's doing okay, I hope.
Here's
That's gonna show off her ring.
I made a bunch. There's one. That one's with like a bronze color wire. And then there's my fancy new technique I learned. I think I need to do it again, but it's still cool. Here's the 3 bead technique we did today.
That one is so beautiful. I love it.
Here's the first one we made, the sardonyx, the carnelian. And then this is what I wore into work today. All right.
Okay, and for mine, I made my magnesite skull.
Oh, yeah.
I made my magnesite skull. I really like this technique. I love the multiple bead. Oh, sorry. The multiple bead technique. That
Cool.
one that you made is beautiful.
Could do 2 or 3 beads.
Yeah.
Beads.
This is a nice, I really like this. It's a good starting space. It gets you used to working with wire. It gets you used to working with beads. And then this is mine that I made. I think I've stopped. Oh, see? Oh, I'll show you guys first. I made some little lightning curves. It
Cool.
kind of turned out to be a bigger ring than what I thought it was going to be. But
Cool.
there it is.
Marisol asks, is that turquoise with the bronze?
Turquoise with the bronze.
Oh, no, this one is actually a rhodonite with a lot of matrix, weirdly. Pretty sure. Huh, that bead. I think it was one of those,
Oh, yeah. It's a rhodonite.
yeah. You can't, rhodonite's usually pink. So that's the cool thing with the rocks is like this is rhodonite with a matrix. And it actually looks like green turquoise. I could see why you would ask that question. Really cool.
I'm doing this so that I make my ring bigger.
So don't forget, you could pound your ring to put patterns or to resize it.
Resizing it and flip it over because your mandrel is a cone shape. So the ring on the bottom is going to naturally kind of get bigger than the ring on the top because I have multiple rings here. Ooh, I think,
Show them that. That looks pretty.
ooh, ow. So I have some little spots in there that I can tell I need to sand down. But there it is. That is a ring to poke somebody's eye out.
Literally.
But it looks really cool.
Beautiful.
I'm glad I chose the Fulgurite. All right, you guys, we're going to do some smaller videos. There's a few things going on this weekend. We have our beads on sale on our website. If you have or need beads, not if you have them, but if you need them. We have the wire wrap ring kits that you can get. So if you're not really committed, you don't want to make a bunch of rings, the kit is a nice one. It has a single piece of wire and an 18 gauge wire and then a 24 gauge wire to wrap your stone on, and then a quartz and a amethyst. Look for a new thing that we're going to do with our beads. So we have bead strands for 16 inches, and we're going to start to offer a try it. So if you have beads like you want, there's an 8mm strand of amethyst beads. We're gonna you'll be able to order single beads from that strand, and so that's happening. Beading happy hour. We're gonna have our next class on Wednesday at 5 again. It seems like this will be our good times. Wednesday at 5 and Saturday at 10. If that works for you guys, we'll be here.
We'll be here.
Our videos will be posted on Facebook and YouTube. Check those out for afterwards if you don't get enough of me cackling off to the side. I do that a lot, but I have fun. And then we're going to start doing the short close-up videos of just the little tiny pieces, of the techniques, not us beautifully sitting here and having a really great time. We miss you guys.
Yeah.
We miss one another. Stay safe. Be careful out there.
Join us this week. Get your bead. We'll bead together.
We haven't decided what we're gonna do on Wednesday.
No.
What do you think?
So
we've had a couple suggestions. We've had
a few people really want you to do knotting.
The knotting class. So let's do that. Let's do a knotting and a tying class so we can show you how to do slip knots. We can show you how to do a Bodhi bracelet, and we can show you how to do the pearl knotting. So that'll be it. Wednesday is a knotting class at 5 p.m.
Lisa M., I'm sorry if I mess up your last name. Herrera Pino. Herrera, yes.
Herrera Pino.
Okay.
Asks, how much are... Oh, sorry. I got excited there for a minute. How much are the kits? Yeah.
So the kits range in price, between $5 and $7. The $5 kits we have has the wire and for the rings, $5 for a ring and a crystal. The wire for the ring and the crystal. We have for the earring class, we have $3 kits that has 10 head pins and 2 sets of ear wires. We have a $7 kit that we just put up last week, which is kind of you choose your color and we choose your beads. So a red kit, a red bead pack, an orange bead pack, yellow. I think I put purple and turquoise up there. And what that means is that if you choose a pack, you'll get 16 inches of beads, but it's going to be a mix. It's going to be a mix of sizes, and it's going to be a mix of stone, but it'll all be within the same color. So that would be a really good one for rings and for earrings.
And for earrings.
Oh, yeah, and for pendants. The earring class, you can do the same wrap for pendants, but maybe we should do one just for wrapping pendants. But that'll be after our Wednesday class.
Yeah. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
I'm sorry to say there's a delay from when we finish here to when the class ends on your guys' end, the people who are watching. So if you have any comments that we don't get to, it's probably because of that. We apologize.
Thank you, Jack. That was thoughtful. I appreciate that.
Bye.
Bye. Happy beading.
Happy beading.
Have a good weekend. Be safe.
Bead.
Bead.